So I'm not sure who stands to lose face more here, Auburn or Hugh Freeze. I'm Chris Graham, and the news from late last night that we've been expecting for a few days. Auburn has announced its hiring of former now Liberty head coach, football coach Hugh Freeze, to be its next football coach, and signing Freeze to a 6-year deal worth $6.5 million per, which, as it turns out, isn't much more than what he was making at Liberty. Liberty's, got more money than God because they kind of grifted from people who believe in God, and they were paying him just under $5 million a year for the next 8 years, according to a deal they had just re-upped with Freeze last month. Freeze was 34-15 at Liberty. He was 8-4 this year. Won at least 8 games every year he was there. They were a little disappointing this year. Started 7-1, blew out BYU, lost 3 of their last 4 down the stretch, and really got beat down 49-14 by New Mexico State on Saturday. Who knows how much of an impact the questions about Freeze's future might have had on the preparation for that game. In any case, he's gone. He's in Auburn now. So, is what it is there. He'll replace Cadillac Williams, former Auburn star, who was the interim coach, went 2-2. He had taken over for Brian Harsin, the former Boise State coach, who was 69-19 at Boise State, but was just 3-5 this year after a 6-7 year last year. So 9-12 in parts of 2 seasons. Lots of his players, I should say, left after last year. There was an investigation into that, probably should have led to him being let go before the season started. Not that he did anything wrong, just that set things back. And Harsin really didn't have a chance this year. And after a 4-game losing streak, they cut ties. Williams will stay on the staff. Good move there. He's a former Auburn star. He'll be a great boon to recruit. So Freeze used Liberty, and Liberty used Freeze, but they use each other. Right? That's how things work. But Freeze used Liberty to rehabilitate his reputation. He'd been 39-25 at Ole Miss and had a couple of really good seasons. Beat Alabama twice, had a 21-point lead on him a third time. I think they won a Sugar Bowl there at Ole Miss. But he was forced out in 2017, and it was ugly when he was forced out. I mean, in the SEC, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. And I mean, in addition to a subsequent NCAA investigation that found the program guilty of numerous academic and recruiting violations on his watch, and also the watch of his predecessor, Houston Nutt, the Right Reverend Houston Nutt, another one of those fake Christians. It was revealed that he had used a university-issued cell phone to make calls to escort services. So, there was a lot of talk at the time after this. He's thought of in college football as a brilliant offensive mind. So, was he going to try to get a offensive coordinator job to rehabilitate his reputation? Ends up at Liberty under Ian McCall, the athletics director who had been the AD at Baylor when they had the awful scandal there with the football program covering up numerous reported sexual attacks by football players on students there at Baylor. So you can't even make this up. This is all going on at Liberty, where, we now know Jerry Falwell Jr., if you've watched that documentary on Hulu, this is a place that people go to pretend like they're forgiven for things. They wanted to win football games. Jerry Falwell Sr., the late Jerry Falwell Sr., I think he died in 2008. He made it clear he wanted Liberty to be a sort of Notre Dame or BYU athletically for Baptists, the same way that BYU is for Mormons and the same way that Notre Dame is for Catholics. It's taken a while, but Freeze helped him move farther along. He took over after Turner and Gill, the former Nebraska quarterback, had gotten the program to a certain level, but kind of leveled off. He won 10 games a couple of years ago. They won a bowl game, actually a relatively meaningful bowl win over a top 25 team, Coastal Carolina, in that COVID season. And they beat BYU this year, 41-14. That was a huge win for the program. It was that week that Freeze was re-upped for this extension, and the goal of Liberty was try to keep him there and keep him really from, wanting to even look for another job. But Auburn Auburn's a place, man. It's a place the ceiling there is really high. They compete for national championships when they're good. The floor is also awfully low. They have fired guys who've won national championships. And their last three coaches, Gus Malzahn. Actually, I'll go in order. Tommy Tuberville, who's now a U.S. Senator, he was fired after a 5-7 season in 2008. He was 85-40 in 10 seasons. 85-40 in 10 seasons doesn't get you fired too many places, but he had 5-7 seasons, so you got to go. That was 4 years after going 13-0. Gus Malzahn replaced him, took Auburn to Gene Chizik replaced him, took Auburn to a national title. I think they were 14-0 that year, but he had the audacity to go 5-7 and 3-9. He was on 33-19 in 4 seasons. Chizik's out. Gus Malzahn replaces him. 68-36 in 8 seasons. He went to a championship game, didn't win one. Chizik won the championship. Tuberville had an undefeated team that back in the pre-playoff era didn't get to play in a championship game for weird reasons. Malzahn played in a championship game, 68-36. Those three guys have a cumulative record of 186-75. They all got fired. So the ceiling's high, the floor is very low. Now, that's what Hugh Freeze is he's giving up the security. He stays at Liberty, and the dude is there for as long as he wants to be, and he walks on water as far as those folks are concerned, because the Liberty Flames will be playing in Conference USA. I believe it's starting next year. He's going to win 8, 9, 10 games every year there at Liberty, and you'll compete with there's games on the schedule with Virginia and Virginia Tech, a chance to beat in-state ACC schools every year or every other year, whatever the case may be. Other big games on the schedule every year. A chance to, with expanded playoffs with 12 teams coming along as soon as 2024. Liberty with a conference affiliation could play their way into, even though I don't know that you're ever going to see Liberty actually competing with the likes of Alabama for actual national championships, is a chance to play in those games. So it's real, right? He would retire there. He could coach until he's 100 years old if he lived that long and be at Liberty and never have anyone question what he does there. He's going to go to Auburn. He'll have a chance to build something special. And then a couple of years later, if he goes 6-6, he's going to be gone. That's the risk reward there. High risk, potential for high reward. Or as Brian Harsin could tell you, 69-19 at Boise State, which, any chopped liver, get you fired in a year and a half if you struggle coming out the gate. So, and on top of this, there's the odd communications that were revealed this summer between Freeze when he was at Liberty and a student at Liberty who was embroiled in a lawsuit with the school over what she alleges is mishandling of her allegations that she had been the victim of several sexual assaults. And Hugh Freeze, out of the blue, without being contacted by the young woman, he contacts her, and actually a couple times, and very oddly tried to. It felt like when you read the text, it kind of felt like he was bullying her into trying to bully her anyway into, I don't know, recanting or dropping her public stance that the school needed to be reprimanded in some way for this. She was not contacted by Auburn when the Auburn officials said they did this incredible vetting into Hugh Freeze's background. There's that, so I don't know. It's Auburn is not necessarily the best place to have a job as a football coach, and Hugh Freeze isn't necessarily the best person to have as your football coach. So I'm not sure who the big loser is here, but maybe they deserve each other. In any case, Hugh Freeze has moved on. Liberty will be looking for a new coach, and we'll keep up with the Liberty head coaching search. Signing off, I'm Chris Graham. Thanks for joining us.